This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know it. And so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Thursday, February the 20th. Of 2025, day 51st of the year, and only 314 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Yep, all over the place as we are doing our thing. No doubt about that. So anyways, thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming in, hanging out, doing the stuff that we do. You know, it's sometimes I tend to forget everything that we're doing because we are a radio show that is streaming on safetyfm.com, that is streaming on radiobig.fm. We are on, if you are on a podcast 2.0 sequence, we are podcasting live on that thing. If you are hanging out on iHeartRadio, if you are hanging out on Odyssey, we're there as well. If not, if you're hanging out on the video side of the house, we're coming across all the virtual platforms that are available, at least if we like. And we're even on visual radio on safetyfm.com. So yeah, we're doing a little bit of everything as things are going on. So yeah, we're everywhere because that's what you guys requested. So number one, we start off as a radio show that goes into a podcasting network that goes into video. And that's kind of how we've always done it. So there you go. Well, I guess the last part is not true because the video thing, a lot of people said, you need to do video. Then we started doing video. Now I feel like I'm inside of a sequence that I can't escape. Well, it's okay. So anyways, our show consists of safety in the news and safety. This is really how everything goes with everything that we do. So good times, bad times, and different. Hopefully the last 24 hours have been good for you in regards of everything that's happening. If you want to interact with the show, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. And that will get you moving and grooving inside of our system. Safety in the news. News and safety is all we do with the main story. We bring in some professional broadcasters and they speak their little hearts away of everything that's going on. So why don't we do this right away and start talking about what was trending?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Notable and noteworthy, an update on Pope Francis' potential funeral plans. Yep, I went dark right away as we're going through the sequence. Also, Blackpink hits the road and Tori Spelling's cops. What? Tori Spelling's cops to spending money on Denise Richards OnlyFans? What? I think she's supposed to say copes. Anyway, so there you go. Lady Gaga will pull double duty on SNL next month, and Donnie Wahlberg Blue Bloods. Days aren't over. We'll talk about that as we get into casting calls. And also, Meghan Markle has drawn the ire of a Spanish mayor. We'll talk about that as we get into the royals. So if you're good, I'm good. I have some people that are waiting from Feature Story News, wanting to tell you exactly what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So let's go ahead and do that.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Hamas has transferred the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages in Gaza to the Red Cross. They include 3 members of one family who Hamas claim were killed in Israeli strikes in November 2023. Israel has not confirmed this. This is the first release of dead hostages since the Israel-Hamas ceasefire started. Donald Trump has repeated his description of Ukraine's president as a dictator.
A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country left. Got to move fast because that war is going in the wrong direction. In the meantime, we're successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia.
President Trump's comments have led to messages of support for Volodymyr Zelensky from international allies, including UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who says he is Ukraine's democratically elected leader. The United States is set to cut the size of its diplomatic mission in China by up to 10%, according to the South China Morning Post. The report in the newspaper says the downsizing is part of the White House's efforts to overhaul the US diplomatic corps around the world. Laura Westbrook reports from Hong Kong.
According to the report, US diplomats and local staff working in mainland China and Hong Kong could be given notice as early as Friday. It's not yet clear whether any of those affected would be reassigned elsewhere, but the report said layoffs are expected. The report said it was probably the first major downsizing of the US diplomatic team in China since the establishment of formal diplomatic relations with the People's Republic in 1979. The State Department said it was fully complying with President Donald Trump's workforce optimization agenda. Last week, Donald Trump issued an executive order directing Secretary of State Marco Rubio to revamp the Foreign Service and has repeatedly ordered that US foreign policy be aligned with his America First agenda. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
The condition of Pope Francis has shown a slight improvement, according to the Vatican. He's being treated in hospital for bilateral pneumonia. The Pope has cancelled his weekend engagements after going into hospital in Rome on February the 14th. Journalist in Rome, Alina Trapattoni, says Thursday's updates from the Vatican provide some grounds for cautious optimism.
He got up, he had breakfast sitting in an armchair, and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni went in to see him and spent 20 minutes with him yesterday. And, you know, she said basically that he joked around as always and he hasn't lost his sense of humour. So overall, it does seem to be getting much, much better. But the context, his medical condition, is very complicated.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, deconstructing some of the falsehoods embraced by President Trump as he moves to drive a wedge between the United States and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Over the last 48 hours, the US leader has claimed Ukraine started the war with Russia, can't find vast amounts of assistance funding provided to it, should hold a fresh election if it wants a seat at peace talks, and, as President Trump put it on Wednesday, has played the United States like a fiddle. Among those vigorously disagreeing, the former UK Defence Secretary Sir Ben Wallace, a former MP with the UK's Conservative Party, which traditionally has been allied with the Republicans.
You often hear America, and I heard him in the Oval Office last week say, we've given double what Europe's given. No, actually, Europe's given more collectively to Ukraine than the United States. And, you know, you keep... And now you hear this one about, he hasn't had an election. Well, Winston Churchill didn't have an election for 6 years because we were fighting the Second World War. It didn't make us undemocratic. It's because, funnily enough, we were fighting for our survival as Ukraine is. And no doubt the constitution of Ukraine will be upheld and there'll be an election whenever that is possible. But you see these lines that are very similar to the Russians' line.
Several moderate Republicans in Congress have also challenged President Trump's assertions, including Representative Mike Lawler of New York, who on Wednesday called Vladimir Putin a vile dictator and thug. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Hamas has transferred the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages in Gaza to the Red Cross. Donald Trump's repeated his description of Ukraine's president as a dictator. The United States is reportedly planning to cut the size of its diplomatic mission in China by up to 10%, and the condition of Pope Francis has shown a slight improvement, according to the Vatican. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Job comes in. They make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering qualified hires versus leading competitors. I have to tell you that we have used LinkedIn Jobs to even find some of the people that we have here at Safety FM. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your jobs for free on linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to tell them that you heard it right here on Safety FM.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Yep, that's what's going on. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. Okay, so let's talk real quick about some things that are going on inside of the multiverse, because that is what we do around here. The training of artificial intelligence models has the first piece of case law after a federal judge ruled that one AI startup, Ross Intelligence, infringed on copyright protection by using materials owned by Thomson Reuters news service. At the most basic level, AI models ingest copious volumes of data, then use statistical analysis to formulate an output. This is one of the reasons Elon Musk's XAI platform has developed so quickly. It's using data from both Tesla and X, which Musk also owns. It trains unfathomable volume of data that Musk doesn't have a license to. Or have to license, better say. Let's see. Thomson Reuters first filed suit back in 2020 before the now ubiquitous AI chat box even came to market. In the final ruling, the U.S. District ruled that none of Ross' possible defense holds water. I reject them all. The decision supersedes the judge's previous ruling that a jury would need to determine whether Ross violated fair use law. The established case law is likely to be the first in future suits against tech companies racing to develop their own sophisticated AI. This is according to the District Courts of Delaware. Yeah, let's talk about that, because that's going to be some things here. Number one, you're looking at this and going, okay, these AI mods are going to play a factor into regardless of what you're doing. So these models are the things that people are going to, and you know, data is king, context is king. The more input you put into there, the more information it's going to generate back, good, bad, or indifferent. So here's the thing. What exactly are you infringing? Well, it depends what you're dropping inside of that thing. Because listen, there's even some chat box out there that you can actually drop people's full books inside of there, giving it source material. And as you give it source material, in return, you can ask it, based on these 8 books or 8 pieces of information, how would X person answer this question? So it becomes curious and it becomes interesting on how these things are going to work going forward. Because listen, it's not going to be an easy task in turning around and going, oh yes, everything is grand. just the way that it goes. So I don't know. We're going to have to take a look at this as we're going. Okay, so the corporate headquarters for KFC will move out of Louisville, Kentucky to its new facilities in Texas. Parent company Yum is centralizing its operations across 2 facilities. The second will be in Irvine, California, and hold corporate offices for Taco Bell and Habit Burger and Grill, a chain with hundreds of locations, mostly on the East and West Coast. The Texas facility will also house operations for Pizza Hut. This is according to 10 News. 10 News out of where? So it gets interesting on what's going to happen there. By the way, KFC hasn't officially been known as Kentucky Fried Chicken since 1991, in case you're wondering about that. Officially. You know, that's kind of the stuff that we run into around here. The safety FM thing. Yeah, some people get confused on the FM. Yep. And it's kind of like when we write a contract out with someone, it's like, what? FM? But I thought it was Safety FM. It's not Safety FM. That's our moniker, if you may. Okay, so let's get into it and some other stuff that is going on. Blackpink is hitting the road. The K-pop group will kick things off in, let's see, Goyang Stadium in their native South Korea, followed by performances in LA, New York City, before heading to Paris, Barcelona, and more. The wrap up things up at London's Wembley Stadium on August the 15th, marking the first time the K-pop girl group headlines the venue. So there you go. Also, Tori Spelling says that her business manager thought that $451 spent on Denise Richards' OnlyFans account came from her then husband's Dean McDermott and not her. My business managers called me and she goes, I don't know how to put this to you. And I was like, what's happening? And she's like, I think Dean is on the OnlyFans looking at girls' spelling recalled. It was then that she admitted to being the one who spent the money, after having no real idea how the site works. This is according to page 6. So let me ask a strange question. Why did you pick Denise Richards? I mean, that's kind of an interesting. That's an interesting pick. And I know Denise just had a birthday recently. We were talking about. I think it's interesting because I have once again watched that Wild Thing. What is it? Wild Things? Yeah, Wild Things. Kevin Bacon, Denise Richards, Nev Campbell. It's not Matt Damon. Is it Matt Dillon? It's Matt Dillon. And Matt Dillon. Yeah, it's a good movie. Older movie. Good movie. I mean, I have to keep in mind now that all these movies that I reference are so old in comparison to the stuff that comes out nowadays, but whatever. Let's continue talking. Jim Janisic, the marketing guy behind ABC's long-running TGI Friday slogan, recently shared what acronym actually stands for. While most think that it means thank goodness it's Friday, Jim said it actually stands for thank goodness it's funny. The Friday evening block shows included popular 90s sitcoms such as Boy Meets World, Sister Sisters, The Hughleys, and Step by Step. This is according to Entertainment Weekly on what he was having to say. So there you go. Some stuff there always going on. By the way, let's not forget, I still got some stuff coming up. The latest high-profile victim on the LA robbery ring. Also, big viewership for season 3 of White Lotus. A looming budget showdown in the swamp and the creation of the U.S. Postal Office on this date in history. We'll talk about that in a moment here.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about what we were talking about yesterday. Amid Pope Francis' ongoing health issues, the Swiss Guard is reportedly rehearsing the Pontiff funeral program. The Swiss Guard provides practical security for the Pope and also functions as the ceremonial guardians of the Vatican. Swiss Guard troops have reportedly been given a standby order in case of the worst. But wait, one of Vatican's officials tells Swiss newspaper Blick that we are continuing to work normally, then denied specific rumors that funeral ceremony practices have begun. In the meantime, Vatican officials have not announced a date that Francis is expected to return home. He continues to receive treatment at the hospital in Rome, where well-wishers have gathered to pray for his recovery. So we'll see what ends up taking place there. It gets interesting because, you don't want to say stuff, and then you do at the same time, too. Like recently, I was in contact with someone, and they were telling me about how they were suffering of a disease and how they didn't really want to share it with anyone, but now they're actually getting runs back and forth to the hospital. So it's become one of those things that it's like, okay, people have to know what's going on now because you're not going to have much of a choice on what's happening. I don't know. I get so weirded out sometimes by some of this stuff. It's like, I understand that the correct thing is not to share, or maybe it is the correct thing. I don't know. I look at it and it's like, how do you go around talking about health? Like, if I had something happen to me, I don't know how if I would share that here on the air. I mean, I might tell it to my close friends, to people that are in my inner circle, if I may put it that way. But would I want to broadcast it? I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing to do overall. So I don't know. How do you feel about that? Should you share? I mean, like, I remember there was this lady that I used to work with, and she was like, oh, yeah, they believe that I have polyps on my colon. Okay. And, yeah, you have to go get a colonoscopy. And, like, everybody in the office knew that this is what she was doing. I thought it was kind of a weird thing. But, hey, I mean, I guess everybody handles these things differently. Seriously.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, trying to be something, all right. Police in central Louisiana, they have busted two teenagers from Colorado who were working out a plan to launch contraband onto the ground of the federal prison. The suspects, 18 and 19-year-olds, reportedly had commercially produced cannons that could launch projectiles up to 350 feet using compressed air. While the police report doesn't indicate exactly what they use, a quick Google search gives some ideas of the kind of device that they had. Officials say that they had $112,000 worth of tobacco and nearly $90,000 worth of methamphetamine on hand. They had been charged with attempting to introduce contraband to a penal institution and attempt to distribute meth. So far, no word on why the suspects were in the area from Colorado and if they had someone in mind to receive the goods. One of the suspects is reportedly in the country illegally, and their plot was uncovered that with the help of ICE. This is according to the Grant Parish Sheriff's Office. So let me make sure I get this down here. You have $202,000 worth of contraband between tobacco and methamphetamines, and your idea is to give it to the prison, to the people that are in the prison. Like, were you trying to get it to one person? And let's talk about this because I want to understand this. Were you going to recover the money? Because $202,000 getting paid back from prisoners, I don't know exactly how that would work, but it sounds kind of odd. Seriously.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, I'm just saying. Anyways, police in Munich are looking into a place more than 1,000 QR code stickers on a gravestone. Yeah, on a gravestone. And wooden crosses at the three cemeteries across the city. When scanned, the name of the person buried in the grave and its location in the cemetery is revealed. And that's it. A police spokesperson told AP that the culprits could also face property damage charges as the gravestones were partially discolored when the stickers were removed. This is according to AP. So hold on. When you scanned it, the name of the person buried in the grave and its location in the cemetery is revealed. That's it. That's a bad thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm confused. Sometimes things get so weird. I don't even know what to think anymore. Okay, so let's talk about some sick bay. LeVar Ball, the father of basketball star Lonzo and Legendo and LaMelo, had his right foot amputated after suffering a serious medical issue. No further details regarding the procedure is known. He's 57 and has not yet publicly addressed the situation. So there you go. Some stuff going on there. Okay, so I pulled this information here about the swamp. And as I pull the information by the swamp, it's as swampy as the editor wants to be. So when I tell you the stuff, it's just exactly how the editor is putting it out there. And then we'll talk about it as we go. So understand that. I want you to, I don't really have a lot of opinions when it comes to politics. I just think the world of politics is really weird. Because I don't understand people that are Republican can only vote Republican. And I don't understand how people that are Democrat can only vote Democrat. I just think that you should vote for whoever you think is the best, regardless of whatever party they're affiliated to. But that's my opinion. And of course, you're entitled to your opinion. And that's the great part about it. But I just don't think you should just go, I'm going straight down one line or the other. Whatever. I mean, people do their own thing. But take a listen to this. Shut down, shut down. There's a looming deadline to fund the government. If Congress doesn't pass a spending package that President Trump signs into law, the government will shut down on March the 14th. So mark that date, okay? March the 14th. Talk about that. What this will include began at the start of the year when the new Congress was sworn in. At the time, Trump said he didn't care whether it takes one or two bills to get his priorities in place, especially the border security. Now, though, he's endorsed one big, beautiful bill. The House is set to vote on the one big bill next week, while the Senate continues to pursue two separate ones. Worth noting, if Trump's priority is trimming the size and scope of the government, he has every incentive to demand a balanced budget and make further progress towards eliminating the deficit and paying down debt. Shut it down, is what the editor of the news story says. Meanwhile, the State Department declared multiple violent foreign gangs and drug cartels as terrorist organizations on Wednesday. The designation gives the federal government expanded power to arrest those assisting gang groups by pursuing their financial resources. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about. Anyways, in some other news, let's talk about the numbers. The Dow ticked up 71 points to close at 44,627 on Wednesday. The S&P increased by 14 points to close at 6,144, and the Nasdaq increased by 14 points to close at 20,056. West Texas Intermediate closed at $72 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $76 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.16 on Wednesday, and Bitcoin slightly was up by 0.08%, trading right around $96,300. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for a $165 million jackpot or a $75.1 million payout. So if you want to play the game, let's play the game, because we're all about the game, and now we're playing. Oh, no, that's a song. That's a song. Be careful there. Okay, let's get into our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, main story time, and I don't mean like let's hang out and talk about, once upon a time, this is the story that I need to tell you. It is main story time that we need to get into the gritty and the nitty and the nitty and the gritty of everything going on. And let me explain what I'm saying here. You are seeing a shift, a turn. We're talking about a lot of things recently. You got some government agencies that are trying to be abolished. You have some things where workers are needed here, workers are needed there. We're seeing some people that are hurt, injured, so on. We're seeing some things inside of the industry that we haven't seen before. Let's just be realistic. And I commonly get this question, and it's about the rise of AI. As you notice at the very beginning of our stories today, we were talking about AI. We're in our main story right now, and we need to talk about AI. And let's be realistic here, because we know that the change is coming using AI. Remember, for years and years and years, we have seen robots come in. We have seen different systems come in. We have seen programs come in that are able to take work that a human would do and, I won't say make it easier, but kind of change the way that things are done. So will there be any different aspect when it comes to AI? Well, here's where it gets interesting. And we just talked about Musk and X and talking about Tesla and everything that he has for the AI chat box that he's creating. And if you're familiar with Tesla, you are aware that they have been developing full self-driving for their cars. Meaning, they have data points that their cars pick up. And I would imagine that it's in the millions, the data points that they have. And these cars are now able to do full self-driving supervised. It's not autonomous. It's full self-driving that's going in place. Now, as I mentioned this, there's a reason that I talk about this. We are now starting to see more AI things that are able to see around what's going on in workplaces. If you are on a work site, there's cameras that are in place that people are putting up for data points to come in for these new AI systems to be able to read it, for it to understand better what should be done on a work site. So what happens now? Well, it's information. And as we have spoken about previously, data is the most important thing that you can get to understand what needs to be done. That's realistically what it is. So as you look at this, the question of humanoids come up. So that's the robots that you can program using AI, still kind of newer tech, but still available out there. A lot of people have this concern that humanoids could take the spot of workers. Now, let's be realistic. Let's talk about this. I would have to say, if I was using a crystal ball, that there has to be some truth to that. There will be some work that some of these quote-unquote robots will replace a normal worker to do. And I look at it from the standpoint is that when this taking place, how is that going to work? Well, I'm not 100% sure because nobody can truly predict the future. But I am wondering, when it comes to like confined places or spaces, how would that work? Would this be a preferred aspect for a humanoid opposed to a human? When there's these higher risk jobs, would that be the case? Now, some people get extremely upset about this stuff, and they go, well, if that's the case, hazard pay will not be there. Things will not be there that are there now. And yes, that is what happens with the industry. Change is inevitable. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? I don't know. If a few years ago, you would have told me that in the transportation industry in particular, you would have autonomous semis, you would have autonomous warehouses in regards of work that's being done, I would have kind of chuckled saying, I don't see how that would work. But we are at the place now in our lifetime that these things are taking place. So why am I saying all this? Because maybe it is time for us to have better understandings on the programming of the language, on how these things need to work with AI or generative systems, opposed to just saying, oh, this is taking over and not doing anything about it. It's something to think about. Is it going to change the world? Or is everything going to be much better if you start looking into this? I don't know if it will, but I can tell you sure as shit, it probably wouldn't hurt to get some knowledge base on what exactly is going on out there. That's for sure.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' best life insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Radio.
Hello.
Okay, 45 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, and the Jay Allen of the Morning Show, just in case if you ever get confused on what's going on. It is a cluster of usters. There is no doubt there. Anyways, the song you're taking a gander to, a little gander-ander action. Yeah, this is The Way It Used to Feel. The band is called Pacific. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, just in case if you were wondering. So, always a good time as we are doing our thingo. Always some good times. So there you go. Thank you to Pacific for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, so let's get into the move and the grooves of the things that we have going on. And if anything, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Right Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And the people at To Right Love on Our Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. Things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to trauma, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, grief support, and that's just to name a few. TWLOHA.com. To Right Love on Her Arms. Yep, a lot of info, good information there. Go there. It could change your life. No doubt about it whatsoever. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about some things that are going on inside of the world. Just dessert, huh? Just dessert. You know, when you were a kid, your parents always asked, you how could possibly have room for dessert after eating so much dinner? And you always responded by saying that you saved a tiny corner of your stomach for cake or whatever sweet treat was awaiting for you. Well, it turns out that we're absolutely correct. You were absolutely correct about this. Scientists have discovered the same brain cells that tell you that you are full are responsible for making us crave sugary treats. That means that we're generally wired to reach for cookies, cake, caramel, apple pie, loaded up with whipped cream, even when our appetite has been satisfied. The German researchers say that the previously unknown neural circuit is responsible. So if you find yourself polishing off half of a tub of cookie dough ice cream after dinner, you can blame that. Neural circuit. Sure, I believe it if it gives me an excuse for a second dessert. So the fact that I ate a whole pie for dessert last night wasn't because of the lack of willpower. It was actually because of the high level of neural activity. Who knew? I mean, like, who knew? Who knew that this was the case? So, I wonder what else applies to that. Like, do you have a chip section or something along those lines that would work in that fashion as well? Or is it only just this one thing? I'm just trying to figure it out because I want to have excuses. I mean, I want to have reasons to understand everything else that is going on as we are going through as well. So there you go. A lot of stuff, little time as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we bring something a little bit more positive into our life, and let's bring in the fine words that John Smalls will have for us on this Thursday.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Jeremy. Florence Nightingale said, "I attribute my success to this. I never gave or took any excuse." What a cool idea. I wish I could say the same thing. I've had many times in my life where I had to find an excuse. Sometimes it's for being a few minutes late for a meeting. Why was I really late? Because I packed too much into my day, but I have gotten a whole lot better at this. Want to know my trick? I started putting the commute on my calendar too. I know you're probably thinking, why didn't you always? If I have a 2 p.m. meeting and I don't have the drive to the meeting on the calendar, I would always find myself late. Now that I've changed that doesn't happen nearly as often.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. God is long-suffering and merciful. More than anything, He wants to deliver you from the sinful trap you've fallen into. If you will voluntarily confess your sins and renounce them, God has no desire to make them public. However, if you persist in your secret sin, He has no choice but to expose your sins. Even then, His intent is mercy rather than judgment. Above all else, He wants to forgive your sins and deliver you from your self-made hell. Lord Jesus, help those who are sick of living in fear of being found out. Hear their confession and forgive their sins. In your holy name I pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
The Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency has reversed a decision to lay off approximately 350 employees from the National Nuclear Security Administration. The sudden layoffs had predominantly affected the Pantex plant in Texas, involved in sensitive warhead reassembly. Jim Kender reports.
Officials expressed concerns that such mass firings could undermine nuclear program stability and embolden U.S. adversaries. Critics, including lawmakers and nuclear safety experts, decried the layoffs as reckless and destabilizing.
Egypt is developing a plan to rebuild Gaza, countering a proposal to depopulate the territory and place it under U.S. control. The initiative includes creating secure areas within Gaza for temporary housing while infrastructure is restored.
Discussions involve European diplomats, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, focusing on funding strategies, including an international conference. The plan aims to ensure Palestinians can remain in Gaza, establishing a non-partisan administration and a new police force, excluding Hamas. Benjamin Wright reporting.
A senior Chinese official has toured the Thai-Myanmar border to address online scam centers operating in Myanmar. Criminal syndicates in areas bordering Thailand have conducted online scams, exploiting thousands of workers under false pretenses. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
An initial repatriation of 260 individuals from these scam centers has occurred, with potentially thousands more to follow. The crackdown is a collaborative effort between China, Thailand, and Myanmar to combat these illicit networks.
This is the latest news headlines.
A Delta Airlines flight flipped over upon landing at Toronto's Pearson Airport, resulting in injuries to 8 passengers. The aircraft arriving from Minneapolis encountered difficulties during landing, leading to the incident.
Emergency responders quickly attended to the scene, transporting the injured to nearby hospitals. Authorities are investigating the cause of the accident to prevent future occurrences. Kyle Norris reporting.
A measles outbreak in Texas has escalated, with the number of confirmed cases rising to 48 and counting. Health officials are urging residents to ensure vaccinations are up to date to curb the spread of the disease.
The outbreak has primarily affected unvaccinated individuals, highlighting the importance of immunization. Public health campaigns are underway to educate communities about the benefits of vaccination. Jessica Oakley reporting.
The body of 18-year-old University of Colorado Boulder student Megan Trussell was discovered in a remote area of Boulder Canyon.
Authorities located her remains in rugged terrain near mile marker 40 in Boulder Canyon on February 15th. The investigation into the circumstances of her disappearance and death is ongoing. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
You could be listening to the best, but you're not. Radio Big.
Yeah, you know it. So there you go. Let's get you out of here and talk real quick about the things that happened back on this date. Back in 1992, Ross Perot appears on the Larry King Show, where he announces he will run for the presidency. He could run against He would run against Democrat Bill Clinton and incumbent President George H.W. Bush. His folksy message resonated with about 19 million voters on Election Day, which was one of the best showings by a third party or independent candidate in presidential elections. Perot and Bush would lose to Clinton. Perot would run again in 1996, with more than 8 million people casting this time his name on the ballot. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. That happened back in 1992. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, Jared McCain turns 21. Olivia Rodrigo, she turns 22 today. Rihanna turns 37. So does Tracy Spagakidis, turns 37. Miles Teller turns 38. Trevor Noah, 41. Chelsea Peretti turns 47. Brian Littrell turns 50. Cindy Crawford, she turns 59 today. Ian Brown, 62. Charles Barkley turns 62. And Mitch McConnell turns 83 today, just for information purposes for you to know. What else do we have? Let's take a look. Here are some days of the year that you can celebrate. It's World Anthropology Day, World Day of Social Justice, Missing Day, and National Love Your Pet Day. I guess if you have to love something, your pet is a good place to start. Okay, so that's it. Let me give you a rando for today. If you need a random joke, let's start off with this one. You don't realize how many back roads your town has until you ride with someone who has a suspended license. True statement there. Okay, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. What trend can you not wait to be over? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. 23% of women have one of these in their purse right now, and they didn't pay for it. What is it? A mint from a restaurant. Okay, hold on. How did you not pay for it? If you go to a restaurant and you pay for the ticket, or somebody pays for the ticket. I guess if you're with someone and they didn't, and somebody else paid for the ticket, that's the only thing that I can say.
I'm calling shenanigans.
Shenanigans on that one, or should we do robot mode?
Shenanigans!
So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I'll be going over to radiobig.fm to talk about music and entertainment if you want to come hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. It's okay. It happens. But you can hang out on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus, and he'll tell you about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. That's it. That sums it all up for us. It really does. That's it. That's the time. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. If I can leave you with a deep thought, I would love to leave you with this one. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. Keep that in mind. Okay? So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.